We're glad to have you back. Again, we'll take you back to the tax reforms, where the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee says about 98% of Nigerian workers will be exempted from paying as you earn payee tax under the new tax laws. In that report, it is scheduled to take effect from January 2026. Chairman of the committee, Mr. Taiwo Edele, said this at the 31st Nigerian Economic Summit, which ended just 2 days ago, Wednesday. He said that the reforms are designed to protect low-income earners and those living around the poverty line, while ensuring fairness and efficiency in Nigeria's tax administration. So Edele said that the federal government generated good revenue from tax in 2024, even as plans were ongoing to reduce the corporate income tax from 30% to 25% as part of broader fiscal reform agenda. I have with me in the studio a former president of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, and is also a tax administrator, was a former president of CIT, an immediate past president, I think I should say that, Mr. Samuel Agbeluyi. Thank you so much. It's good to have you live in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. I know we've had this conversation before. We've been staying with this tax issue for some time. But I think one big thing raised at this NESG is the issue of awareness. And I think that even we as media practitioners should try our best also to continue to educate Nigerians. And I'm glad you agreed to come educate us more today about it. Let me start with the fact that what do you make of that overview that it is pro-poor? I think that's what many people are saying. I mean, they're saying because some don't even understand. Some just believe 1st January, I might be taxed more. You know, I think some clarity still needs to be done around that space.
Okay, thank you for yet another opportunity to speak on this national matter. The reform and the 4 acts, I also join those who are saying it's pro-people. I say it's pro-poor, pro-business, and pro-Nigeria. And to that extent, it's a major development in the country, positive one for that matter, whereby we now have a kind of sanity. And that sanity will be evident from January when the implementation starts. So it is all encompassing, leaving the low-income earner and even the middle class, because in any economy, you can't ignore the middle class. They are the engine room. And to that extent, the reform has paid a lot of attention to the middle class. The rate has been reviewed, and to that extent, they get more money. Because at the end of the day, the effect of tax payment, whether at the individual level or at the corporate level, is about the money in your hand. It's a competition as to what do you have and what are you giving to the government. And I dare say that by virtue of what I know that are embedded in this reform in the act, there is going to be a kind of relief or release of additional money into the hand of people. And when you have additional money, then you have money to purchase. Your purchasing power goes up. And once you have your purchasing power going up, then you are able to buy. Once you are able to buy, you patronize the sellers, the vendors, and the likes. Once you patronize, it's a system. Once you patronize, productivity increases. And that's how nations develop. So to that extent, I think we should rejoice and be positive about this because it's the way to go. And I believe the right thing have been done to make sure that we are no longer the laughing stock of civilized nations.
Because, of course, I know one that it's best to tax productivity and not taxing poverty in any way. But the issue of VAT was a contending one. I had this conversation with a series of analysts talking about what really was a problem with the VAT. Was it the sharing formula and all of that?
Okay, I will look at the two. I will approach it from 2 angles.
Okay,
political and the technical.
That's true.
The political, I'm happy it's been resolved.
Yes,
and I'm happy that my institute, when the contention was very hot, we came to the public and we told the whole world it was good for that dialogue to take place because we need the buy-in of the political leaders, not only at the national level, but even at the subnational level. And having got that buy-in, it means that implementation will be seamless. So it should be. So regarding the political angle, I think we are good. And it shows how resilient and how Nigeria can resolve complicated issues. It's a kudos to, give kudos to our political leaders. Now, on the technical aspect, you see, I've said it over and over again. What we do in Nigeria regarding VAT is at best sisters. The VAT in Nigeria, as we currently operate it, does not have the characteristic, if you want me to use that phrase, it doesn't have the characteristic of proper VAT, the way it is implemented world over. And I'll give an example, the input. In this current act to be implemented from January 2026, there are a lot of, all those weaknesses have been tidied up. If you incur capital expenditure, which is very critical to businesses, because your start-off, you need capital expenditure. And so if you buy motor vehicle, you buy furniture, you buy equipment, before now you need to wait for 4 years before you can recoup the money you have spent. And that is the more reason why most businesses approach the banks. And what do they get? The interest rate of borrowing is high. And if you get the statistic, a certain percentage of businesses die in the first 1 year, another set in 5 years, like that. That happens to be one of the contributors. But effective from January, you incur capital expenditure. It's an input fact for you. You are not just dashing government. It's like you give your money to government for 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, if it's furniture and fitting, as the case may be. And so you have that input claim. And it's not that you just have claim the way the way it has been over the years, whereby if you have money in the hand of FRS, you must be audited before you get your refund. This time around, you don't need, there's no basis, there's no requirement for you to be audited. But of course, as a taxpayer and as a consultant, you need to be straightforward, because this is a regime that everybody needs to come clean. If you don't come clean, you pay more. So, and for me, for the members of my institute, and we have said it and we have agreed, you need to come clean. If you are claiming anything from Federal Inland Revenue Service or you are claiming anything from the state, come clean. Once you come clean, the government will give it to you. And you don't need to go through, audit. That is the major one. And there are a lot of, it's like through the instrumentality of this act, a lot of exemptions have been given. And so it speaks to what I said at the beginning of this conversation, that it's a struggle for the money in our hand. And so when the government says, I give you this relief, I allow you to go away with it, you are not going to be taxed in this area. What happens? You have more money. Individual, your purchasing power is increased. Company, your working capital is good. And once your working capital is good, then you tend to have that opportunity for expansion. Once you have an opportunity for expansion, what happens to the country? Employment of a lot of people coming to your company. So it's whichever we look at it, it's a win-win situation. And I just believe everybody will see it from this light. So the VAT, because it's a transactional tax, the more you consume, the more you pay to government. If you don't consume, you are not paying. And fortunately for us, this time around, it's like, let me be careful of how I describe this. It's like we have gotten everything. That is we, the taxpayer. We are not having the proposed increase of the rate. Didn't stay true. So meaning that we are still with the 7.5, which is the lowest in most countries of the world. But some people will say, don't compare us with whatever, compare us with peculiarity. We agree. So we are having that. At the same time, the company income tax, which is very critical. if you deal with large company, you will know the meaning and the implication of 5%. So if you are moving from 30% to 25%, that's a lot of relief to the companies. And if you have that relief, it also helps your working capital. And it goes back to what I said before, that it's a win-win to everybody. So the VAT is good, at least for foreign investors. And for those of us who are consultants, we're happy to know that it is not going to be difficult for us to convince our foreign investors. You go to developed country and you need to market Nigeria, or you are meeting a new client, and you tell him you can't recoup your capital, and he asks you, is it VAT or what? So, but this time around, it's a win-win situation, both from the political angle and even from the technical angle for businesses in the country.
Interesting. Multiplicity of tariffs, of taxes. I know I've had this conversation with you also many times, where you talk about non-state actors and their role in collection. You know, I know you've always said that time and time again. But do you think this is going to be addressed moving forward by 2026 once we start this implementation?
Well, my response to that is anything and everything that has to do with human being, you put some element of doubt. And in this regard, we need to sensitize and carry the security agencies along, because this has a lot to do with them. And more importantly, the state governors and the local government must also know what they need to do. You don't have non-state actor without the backing or the passive backing of people at the subnationals. How dare Agbelu goes to the street, to the road, to block anybody? I don't even have the lever. I can't do it. But if you see anybody who does that, possibly there's one strong power behind that person. So, and what we have seen over the years is that during the political campaign and the likes, some people put money to support the politicians. And when they get to the office, they realize that money at the cover of the government is not as much as they had envisaged. So what happened? Okay, and you have donated this X amount of millions to my campaign trail. So can you go to this side of the state, whatever you can collect, you can recoup whatever you have spent to support my campaign. That's one. We have some people, they just go to the governor because they belong to the same political party. And the issue is that the government before you collected 1 billion per month. I assure you I can get 2 billion for you. So the governor needs money, or the local government chairman needs money. So he said, is that correct? So please go ahead and do that.
Do that.
And these people are not trained. We can't afford not to use professionals with what we have in our hands. Because we have said what we have in our hands is measuring with global best practice. And if you have that, those who taxation is a multidisciplinary element, if I can say that. You must have the knowledge of economics, you must know the law, you must know accounting. You must have all this knowledge at the back of your mind. So why is the revenue going down of a company? Why is the revenue of a company going down? Why is the national economy going up? What is the relationship? Why is the movement? Why is there no alignment in movement? You need all this understanding, and you need to know the law. So you can't bring just anybody to operate within the tax space. It's a good day for tax professional, I must say that. But of course, we need to excuse the non-tax professionals who are actually giving the tax professional bad name. So the governors, the leaders at the subnational, we need the political will. Because at the end of the day, who stands to gain? You stand to gain if you do the right thing. So forget and ignore the short-term benefit of satisfying your political benefactors and the likes. Do the right thing, grow the economy of your state. Of course, you have more money to spend. just like you are getting more money. And we need to demarcate between what is happening at the federal and what is happening at the state. FRS is not just getting money for the nation to thrive. It's because they are doing the right thing. So the state must also do the right thing to get the right outcome. So the security, we need to come in and take necessary action. Some people are just they are defiant, no matter what to say, and that is why we have the law to prosecute them. But for the political leaders at the subnational, they need a political will to do the right thing. Once they do the right thing, Nigeria will be great, and then we have closer to the discussion of non-state actors.
Implementation from January 2026 is another question that is running through everyone's mind. Do you think everything is set for seamless implementation as we speak?
Everything may not be set because this is a massive change.
It is.
It's a very massive change. Everything may not be set, but I believe as we move on, everything will be close to being set. And in the course of implementation, whatever is not right can be, because no matter how perfect a document is, no matter which part of the continent you are looking at, you may not get to see the downside until you start implementation. But I'm happy that the current JTB, as it is presently constituted, the FRS, the various state internal revenue services, they are doing a lot of collaboration, training, discussion, and all manners of things as to the implementation, how the implementation will be done effective from January. So looking at that, I believe the cost may not be as much as we would have expected. But of importance to me is that the government, not just the tax professionals, we need to do a lot concerning awareness creation. A lot of people, and I still met, I was in the NESG, you mentioned earlier in Transcorp Hotel for 3 days this week, and I know the caliber of people I met one-on-one, and majority of them asking me this proposed act or this proposed act that will be taking effect from January, why are you people allowing for tax increase? And I said, please tell me, which aspect of the law has increased anything? Are you aware that company income tax is coming from 30 to 25%? Are you aware that personal income tax, the rate has been reviewed? The highest you have in the rate is 25% for people earning 50 million and above. In Western world, what you get is between 45 and 50%. But what we are having here, the highest we are having here is 25%. So where is the increase? So the government needs a lot of awareness creation. They shouldn't leave this to tax professionals.
Yeah.
Because most of those complaints borders on political alignment.
Yeah.
So whatever you say, some people have made up their mind, they are not interested.
Yes.
So they repeat the same thing in January, they are repeating the same thing in October, no matter what we have told them. So the government needs to step in to make this awareness a front burner issue. Otherwise, many people are saying something contrary to what is the reality.
Exactly. Troubling to me. And that's also why I said I'm going to stay on this to also at least use this medium to educate people and let people understand what is playing out. So finally, I'm saying, what will be your entire outlook for Nigeria's economy? We see the figures are looking better. The World Bank came up with another report again and talking about poverty, the effect of the reforms and all. As we move to the end of 2025, what is your own outlook with what you've seen on ground? Inflation gradually tapering down, but generally, what do you make?
Okay, positive, and the figures are saying that. I was discussing with a colleague, I'm also a stockbroker, I was discussing with a colleague stockbroker on my way to this studio and know what we discussed. So, and we generally believe that the capital market is the barometer that you use to measure the economy. But the main point is that Nigerians are still suffering. That fact, the government needs to know that it's not over yet. Nigerians are suffering. And why are Nigerians suffering? Why are we having almost all the variables giving us positive results? The exchange rate, yes, the trade surplus, almost in all the indices, giving us a positive outcome. And people are still suffering because, I say it again, Nigerians are still suffering. The World Bank that gave that report, they know that once the economy turns the corner and there is positive development, the first level of impact will be at the macro level. You move from macro, company, then to household. It takes time. There's always this time lag between when the thing turns the corner and when everybody on the street feels the impact. But I also want to say this, and I'll go back to the state government again. I was expecting, in all honesty, that by virtue of the benefit of the removal of the fuel subsidy, that most Nigerian cities and towns will be flooded with mass transit because these people are getting more money. So if you look at what an average household spends, an individual spends, a lot goes on transportation.
Yes.
So why are we not having the government, the governors, bringing a lot of buses, subsidized, or whichever we look at it, whereby you can move individuals and goods across. Once you are able to do that, you are reducing the burden on this set of people. And I must also say this, the various government agencies and department or whatever you want to call them, this is not the time to also introduce. You can't be giving 100 naira to somebody with your left hand and you are collecting 120 with the left hand. This is not the time to introduce 40,000 for tinted glasses. It's counterproductive because, like I've said in the course of this interview, the money in the hand of people, you are competing. So the little they have, let them have it to face the real situation of life. Interesting
points there. I must tell you that's all time can take. Mr. Samuel Agbelui is the former president of the Charter Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, tax administrator.